This lesson presents Nelson Mandela's life as a narrative of perseverance and transformation central to South Africa's reconstruction. Rather than a simple chronology, it emphasizes how the new nation emerged from shared struggle and courage. Using the metaphor of a tapestry, the text highlights the interwoven values of hope that reshaped national identity. The lesson invites students to engage with a historic turning point of lasting global significance. Imagine holding a single thread. It is easily broken on its own, but weave it with thousands of others, and it becomes an unbreakable fabric. Look at the vibrant, colorful cords coming together here to form the face of Nelson Mandela. This visual isn't just a portrait. It symbolizes how individual struggles and diverse cultures interlaced to create the complex pattern of a new democratic nation. Just as a tapestry requires patience to form a picture, the birth of the new South Africa required the collective strength of millions to emerge from a dark history. As we start this chapter, think of history not as a dry list of dates, but as a living artwork woven by human courage. Imagine the entire world turning its eyes to one spot on the map, all at the same time. Follow those colorful lines converging on South Africa. They represent leaders from over 140 nations arriving not for war, but to celebrate a miracle. This wasn't just a political ceremony. Mandela called it a rainbow gathering because it proved that enemies could unite under a banner of justice and peace. It's a moment of global validation, showing that the new dawn of democracy was a victory shared by all of humanity, not just one country. To truly appreciate the light, you have to understand the depth of the darkness that came before it. Look at the stark, cracked image of the whites-only bench. This segregation was the daily reality of a system Mandela calls an extraordinary human disaster. The union buildings, which we see as a place of celebration today, were for decades the seat of white supremacy where these cruel laws were written. Recognizing this painful history is essential because it transforms the inauguration from a mere change of guard into a profound triumph of the human spirit over institutional brutality. Usually, the sight of military jets brings fear, but here the smoke trails paint a picture of hope. Notice the specific colors, black, red, green, blue, and gold, streaking across the sky to physically mark the arrival of a new democracy. Even more powerful is the sound of two anthems blending together, the old song of the masters and the hymn of the oppressed, being sung by everyone. It represents a hybrid moment where a divided past agrees to sing with one voice. This symbolism is critical because it shows that the military, once the enforcer of oppression, had pledged its loyalty to the new free order. A pledge is more than a promise. It is a solemn vow to heal a broken society. Focus on the strong, definitive words, never, never, and never again. Mandela uses this triple repetition to lock the door on the past, ensuring that the bondage of poverty and discrimination will find no home in this beautiful land. He isn't just speaking to the crowd, he is declaring to history that dignity is now the law of the land. This quote is your golden key for understanding the absolute determination behind the new republic's foundation. Success often feels personal, but Mandela viewed his presidency as a relay race, where he just happened to be holding the baton at the finish line. Look at the silhouette representing him. He feels the weight and presence of all the African patriots standing invisibly behind him. He calls himself the sum of their lives, acknowledging that his achievement was built on their unimaginable sacrifices. It's a humble, bittersweet admission that while the victory is sweet, the inability to thank those who died for it remains a source of deep pain. This concept of collective legacy is vital to understanding Mandela's lack of ego. Pressure does more than just crush things. As we know from geology, intense pressure is exactly what creates diamonds. Notice the opposing arrows on the slide. The deeper the depths of oppression plunged, the higher the heights of character rose in response. Mandela argues that the brutality of apartheid unintentionally forged men of extraordinary courage and wisdom, like Oliver Tambo and Walter Sisulu. He famously claims that these people, not the gold or gems in the ground, are his country's true wealth. This paradox teaches us that the hardest times often produce the strongest people. We often think bravery means having no fear, but Mandela corrects this misconception entirely. Focus on the single flame glowing against the dark background. It represents the triumph over fear, not the absence of it. He learned from his comrades that true courage is feeling the terror of torture or imprisonment and choosing to stand firm anyway. Even in the grimmest moments, seeing a glimmer of humanity in a guard was enough to keep that flame alive. This definition creates a more relatable human version of heroism that we can all aspire to. Notice how this slide traces Mandela's idea of freedom as a journey through 3 stages of his life. As a boy, freedom meant simple, personal joys, running freely in the fields, swimming in streams, and sleeping under the stars without restriction. As a young man, that definition deepened. Freedom became about dignity, earning an honest living, supporting a family, and living with self-respect. But as he matured into a leader, Mandela's understanding transformed completely. He realized that his own freedom was meaningless while his people remained in chains. This is why he calls freedom indivisible. The chains on one were the chains on all. The slide visually reminds us that true freedom is not personal comfort, but collective dignity. Have you ever felt torn between 2 promises, where keeping one meant breaking the other? Notice the image of the man literally being ripped apart between the warm circle of his family and the broader responsibility to his community. Mandela explains that in a free society, balancing these duties is natural, but under the apartheid system, choosing to serve your people meant being forcibly severed from your home. It's a tragic paradox where doing your civic duty turned you into a stranger to your own children and wife. Understanding this conflict is crucial because it highlights the agonizing personal cost paid by freedom fighters who had to sacrifice their private lives for a public cause. We usually think of freedom as simply unlocking the jail cell for the prisoner. But have you ever considered the invisible chains on the guard? Look at how the words hatred, prejudice, and narrow-mindedness act as bars in this graphic, trapping the oppressor just as tightly as the oppressed. Mandela presents a profound psychological truth here. You cannot be truly free if you are holding the keys to someone else's cage, because your own humanity is locked away by your actions. It's like gripping a leash so tight you can't move your own hand. Both parties are tethered to the same system. This concept is vital for your exams because it redefines freedom not just as a physical state, but as a liberation of the human spirit for everyone involved. Vocabulary isn't just about memorizing definitions. It's about unlocking the emotional weight behind the words. Glance at the phrase, "a twilight existence," in the left column, and try to picture a life lived in half-light, somewhere between hiding and surviving. Connecting these metaphors to their meanings helps us feel the glimmer of humanity Mandela held onto even when his circumstances were at their bleakest. By mastering these pairings, you aren't just prepping for a test, you are learning to decode the rich, symbolic language that makes this autobiography a masterpiece of resilience. Let's see if you can link the Rainbow Gathering to its colorful counterpart before we reveal the answers. Great speeches don't just convey information. They have a rhythm and a heartbeat that sticks in your memory. Focus on the flame icon representing metaphor. Mandela doesn't just say people are good. He calls goodness a flame that can be hidden but never extinguished. This imagery transforms an abstract concept into something elemental and unstoppable, like fire itself. Meanwhile, the repetition of never, never, and never again beats like a drum, driving home the absolute finality of the old regime. Spotting these devices, metaphor, alliteration, and repetition, is the key to analyzing literature like a pro and understanding why these words still resonate decades later. Writing a long essay can feel like climbing a mountain, but it becomes a walk in the park if you have a map. Follow the visual icons down the slide, tracing Mandela's journey from a boy chasing transitory freedoms to a man driven by a hunger for collective dignity. Notice how the structure moves from the personal illusion of freedom in his youth to the broader, sacrificial commitment that turned a lawyer into a monk. This evolution is the heartbeat of his character arc. Mastering this flow, from selfish desire to selfless sacrifice, ensures you can answer the how and why of his transformation with confidence. Reaching the destination is often just the start of a new, perhaps harder, journey. Look at the path stretching towards the horizon. It suggests that while the legal chains are broken, the work of restoring humanity is ongoing. Mandela reminds us that true liberation isn't a single event in 1994, but a continuous process of freeing the oppressor from hatred, just as much as the oppressed from bondage. It's a powerful paradox. You aren't fully human until you treat others as humans too. This ending leaves us with a challenge, asking us to keep walking that road of dignity in our own lives. If this lesson helped you, please like and share it with others who may benefit. Subscribe to Pragya Education for more clear concept-driven learning. Keep learning, keep growing with wisdom.